topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Portland. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where for the last 16 years, we have brought you the finest, the experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I've got a great show for you for the next 25 minutes. We were going to be talking about longevity, but our great Dr. K of Upgrade Medical we're all going to feel bad for him, is suffering from back pain. And we're going to talk about that. And boy, I got to tell you, we feel for you. I know what it's like to have lower back pain. Let's bring on Dr. K.
Hey, Steve, good to see you. Thanks for having me back. Sorry, I'm looking a little disheveled because I've been kind of sequestered on the couch there.
We totally understand. Hey, Dr. K, before we start, tell people about Upgrade Medical.
Sure.
This got to do with the Medicaid show.
Right. No, it's a functional medicine clinic. I do functional integrated medicine. I'm a nurse practitioner, doctor of oriental medicine. I have a master's in functional medicine, and I just kind of mush it all together and, get to the underlying cause of things, or utilize, methodologies to get people's symptoms under control, which is sort of apropos for today. And, I've been doing it about 17 years, and there's actually some crossover into longevity. So I'll do my best here. I'm 55. So,
which you don't look like it.
World. Thank you. I'm 72. That's how good I am.
Yes. Hey, at least you haven't lost your sense of humor. So let me ask, are you in pain right now?
I am. Yeah. So as long as I'm not moving around, I'm doing okay. It's the moving. So, I was a veteran. And so I have a disability rating. Thank you. We'll see if it helped given the current state of the world. But so here's the thing. I used to exclusively do chronic pain and complex disease. We've talked about that before.
Right.
And part of that was because I have so much chronic pain myself. I applied functional medicine and all these advanced techniques to those things for 17 years, including in hospital settings. And then, now what you're seeing in the kind of longevity, anti-aging world, peptides, all the things, they've become popular because of social media. But all of them can be applied to a lot of different things, whether it's, hey, I want to just anti-age, hey, I want to optimize, or hey, I have these chronic, kind of terrible conditions. What can we do to help? So it's really application, right? Which is true of all medicine. In terms of longevity, let's say I'm a Gen Xer, right? So, these technology and coaching and all of those things has changed a lot, right? When we were young, it was,
Yes.
Suck it up, walk it off, take a salt tablet, you got your bell rung when you got a concussion.
No pain, no gain.
Right? No pain, no gain. Pain is weakness leaving your body. Right? That was kind of like our generation. And, we did things thinking they were helpful. And now, years later, as science advances and research comes out, we know that they weren't good. Concussions is a big one in young athletes, and they've been very good about addressing that. Um, Protections and mechanical things, focuses on recovery have all changed. But, a lot of people our age or a little older, somewhere, 40 to 60, is pretty beat up, right? We weren't as good as the younger generations now. We didn't, coaching, science, recovery, diet, right? All of those things come
Yes.
into play. And so in my case, I was predisposed to a couple things. I have a genetic defect where I don't clear uric acid well. So I've had gout uh, since I was pretty young.
Oh, that is
And
so painful.
yeah, and it took a long time to get diagnosed. I got diagnosed in the military because all the trauma and impacts kept flaring it. But 18, 19-year-old kids don't get that, so they kept missing it. And so I was predisposed to a lot of arthritises, the gout, and then there's a lot of osteoarthritis in my family, which is one of the most common, most prevalent, pathologies worldwide. And we really have no good treatments. We really don't. We have anti-inflammatories, some dietary lifestyle changes, some physical stuff, but we don't have a direct treatment for it. And so it's a pretty big burden disability-wise worldwide. And, back pain is, of course, a high percentage of that. So in my case, I was predisposed, a lot of osteoarthritis in the family, plus this inflammatory type. And then I was really hard on my body, right? The Gen Xer, right? Did all the things.
Yes.
And I was a martial artist. And then I spent 10 years in the military. And, getting pounded on and hit and beaten and jumping out of planes and humping a ruck and running with boots. Who knew? Not great for you, right?
Right.
And so that
Exactly.
accelerated a lot of the process. My spine looks like a 120-year-old. So I've suffered from a lot of chronic pain for a long time. I utilize a lot of functional medicine. I have never taken narcotics. There's probably some acute times I could have used them, but I never have.
Yeah.
Um, Partially of my fear of what they do, since I treat a lot of that. I do it mostly naturally, but that being said, there's times and a place where now we transition away from that to the Western, right? I had managed my back for 20 years with various techniques, from physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractor, cupping therapies. Now I use deep tissue cryo cold on my neck, targeted therapy. I've used bee venom, which could be a whole nother show, but bee venom is a peptide that has some anti-inflammatory and pain relieving properties. That's put locally. But several years ago, a disc slipped and I was losing feeling in the leg and I couldn't really walk, and
Oh,
that can cause long-term problems. So I had the disc cleaned up. That kind of led to instability, which is true often. I'm a little biased because I only see failed surgeries, but um,
yeah.
surgeries can have complications. If you fuse, you can get more arthritis. If you don't fuse, it can become unstable, which is what happened to me. Um, Admittedly, partially my own fault because none of us do as much core work as we should, including me. Um, but and now it's to the point where it probably needs a higher level intervention of stabilization. Now, how do you, if people are considering that or need that, how do you work functional medicine into that? Well, it's the same. It's the same as if we're applying it to anything else, right? You don't eat processed inflammatory foods. You try and optimize your sleep. I just purchased and rented some advanced sleep things for our own bed so that I could be more comfortable, because I was tracking my sleep and then moving so much. I was getting, on average, about less than 30 minutes of deep sleep, which is less than half of what should
Wow.
be required. So, I did
Yes.
something like that where the bed moves and adjusts automatically and controls temperature to try and relieve some of that and improve that parameter. I try to eat pretty well. I take recovery blend peptides. I take some herbals that people probably have heard of, like curcumin and boswellia and things like that. fish oils.
How did you
But
treat the gout, Chris?
so the gout, I actually am medicated for. I did it naturally for a long time, and it's generally my position. You know, you can do a lot of things naturally, not everything, but you can.
Right.
But there is a to me, it's about practicality, right? Do I want to take a pound of herbs a day, plus have this super restricted diet, plus do this, plus do that? Or I can take a, very well studied pill that we can see the lab results. So I do that and I put the money and effort into other things, um, you know, to give take. In this scenario, it'll probably be both. I'm going to need another surgery for my back, and it looks like my neck's going to need one. So you can't tell,
Oh,
but currently this hand on my right hand is significantly colder to the touch than my left because I have some nerve entrapment. And so, that can lead to long-term chronic nerve pain. So we want to get rid of that. So what am I doing? I'm doing, neurological peptides for repair, anti-inflammatory
mhm.
recovery peptides to just hopefully slow it down, prevent it, and buy myself some time. Still doing all the other things. And when it comes to surgery for each, I'll take an integrated approach, right? I'll do some probably exosomes and mesenchymal growth factors and peptides injected into that area pre and post, or maybe IV. I'll have the surgery and I'll also tie in the peptides to that. And then, the normal stuff, physical therapy, but then I'll add in pulsed magnet and, things like that. So you layer them together. In this case, it's just that functional medicine and the integrated stuff is taking on a supportive role rather than a primary role. And those can sometimes be switched. The Western medicine can take on the supportive, where the functional becomes
Right.
the primary. You know, so
So,
uh,
do you think you suffer at all from neuropathy at all, Chris,
I don't
with the
have
nerves?
neuropathy, knock on wood. I have more of the acute nerve issues because of the entrapment where you get kind of the tingling, but it's not permanent neuropathy at this point. Um, and so I'm lucky in that regard. Even when the disc slipped, I didn't have a lot of nerve pain. I was pretty lucky. But I had neurological deficits in terms of weakness and sensation. And so that's how we knew the nerve was involved. So,
How
and you don't want to let those
how do
things
you
go.
get comfortable, Chris? How do you get
Currently, I'm
comfortable
not.
now with
Currently, I'm not.
I mean,
Yeah,
sitting up or laying down?
depends on the moment. I've been, using my own equipment, pulse magnet, and deep targeted cold to kind of take the inflammation out, chiropractic to just keep it mobile, and then sleeping on a really hard area, heat packs, sauna, followed by a cold plunge. But I've also been using anti-inflammatory injections. So both thing, and still on my peptides and things. So
See, you
it's
look like you're in such great shape, Chris.
it's all the mask, right? No, I mean everybody has things, right? Everybody has things.
Right.
The goal is to keep them manageable and uh, and to keep a person functioning and to have quality of life even above quantity, in my opinion, right? I'd rather live great years than just crappy long years, right? That's kind of my position. But that's how I sort of gauge it for myself and my patients. When the things you're doing start becoming so cumbersome or so frequent or require so many interventions, maybe it's time to start shifting gears or looking at a different strategy, or your function has gone down so much that now you need to switch strategies.
Chris, were you in the health field in the service?
I was a Navy corpsman with Force Reconnaissance, which is the Marine Corps Special Operations teams.
And then when you got out of the service and you started your practice, was that the reason why you started your practice? from
Um,
all your experience in the Corps?
I mean, that was partially it. I wasn't originally intending to go into medicine. At the time, remember this is I got out in like 2000.
Uh,
None of that training really carried over, and I had a fair amount of very extensive training. Now today, my same job, you'd get out as with a licensed flight paramedic, if not more. But they didn't have that back then, and so when I was kind of debating what to do, I thought, well, if I have to redo everything and it's going to take me 2 years, I might as well just go to grad school. And my joke is that it was a
mm.
little bit of family guilt too, if I'm honest.
Ah!
They're like, "Are you going to come home finally? You've been gone for like a decade." So um, big fat Greek Italian family, right? Um, so and then as I went through my journey of school, I started in kind of natural medicine and got the doctorate in acupuncture, oriental medicine, and fortunate enough to go to Bastyr, so I had a fair amount of naturopathy training, and then bridged over because I had the Western training and I lean more scientific, which is why functional medicine's good for me. Became the nurse practitioner and then did the actual degree in functional medicine. But yeah, I mean, my framework, right? You can't help your own health influencing your practice.
Right.
So I started in a chronic pain center, and myself and my original boss and my wife and a couple other people built a multidisciplinary integrated pain practice for a hospital. Um, and then it's just gone on from there.
Hey, Chris, we started promoting your show about 3 days ago, and most of the questions coming in is people want to know what functional medicine is.
Mhm. So functional medicine is a philosophy, right? It's a framework of how you approach things, right? It's some people think it's very similar to naturopathy, which I do. I think naturopathy was the incarnation, the first version of this. Um, but I look at it now as it's the bridge between straight conventional medicine and naturopathy, acupuncture, all those things. It's the bridge, right? So it's a very science-based, directed approach that the idea is gets to underlying causes of systems level dysfunctions, right? So if you have chronic fatigue, for example, instead of here's I'm making this up. Here's some, modafinil or Adderall so that you're not tired. We're going to try and find out why, right? And so it's a little different strategic approach. We tend to use more labs, some specialty labs, a lot longer visits because we try to develop a deeper relationship, and there's a lot more questions and timelines and things we consider, like travel and environmental exposures and things like that, so that we can piece these timelines and paint a picture of what's happening. And generally the goal, when possible, uh, is to find either, like, currently if I was a patient, right, it would be what's the primary pain generator. Another person, it might be what's the primary system that is in dysfunction at the moment. Is it immune? Is it digestive? Is it neurologic? What's the primary driver? There's typically multiple things happening, but in a framework we need a starting point and then we expand out from there. Is it always possible? No, but it is always our goal to try.
Would you describe your practice to the people who are watching or listening now? Because I know you also deal in longevity.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, like I said earlier in the show, the the medicines, whatever they may be, right? An herb, a nutraceutical, a vitamin, acupuncture, whatever it is, to an actual Western medication, peptides included, are just about how you apply them. It's all medicine, right? So my practice can range from chronic pain, from things like Ehlers-Danlos, fibromyalgia type of pain conditions was my specialty, all the way to just people who want to, hey, I'm in my 60s, I'm generally healthy, I want to stay that way. What do I do? right? So it's a pretty big range, but what I'm using and how I'm applying it and how I'm approaching it is all the same. It's just some are more complicated than others, but you're looking at and intervening on those same concepts. Is
Yeah,
that
I describe your practice as you you feel in your body something is not right. You go to the doctor, they run all these tests, and the doctor says there's nothing wrong with you, but you know there is something wrong. Then
sure?
you go to Chris, right?
Yeah, I mean that is, kind of the hallmark of what functional medicine people do, right? It's these amorphous syndromes often that get people in the door, or they're people who are motivated and do a lot of research themselves and are seeking that out, right? Those are probably the two most common things. And that's where like all those extra labs come in, the longer visits, because you want to tease out
Right.
that timeline. Something like somebody that's had long-term GI issues, and I mean this is a very generic example, but oh, your CT is normal and your colonoscopy is normal and you don't have celiac disease. Well, okay, somebody might come up with, because it's popular, a little more popular now. Oh, you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or maybe not, or it's just IBS. But in that timeline, and this actually occurred. This is actually real, where I had a patient who had all these problems for a very long time, and nobody had asked if you've traveled, and it turned out before the onset of these symptoms, she got deathly ill in Central America to the point of having to be evac'd out. And then
Oh,
some period of time later, these gastro symptoms started, and nobody really thought to ask or look at that. Doesn't make me brilliant. It's just the strategy and approach that we take, right? It's those little details that somehow make a difference. And from that, I knew to test her GI. We found some, I want to say, parasites and protozoa. We treated that, and she got significantly better. So sometimes it's just asking the right questions or spending enough time with somebody or ordering an extra lab. And sometimes we don't know, but here's what we can do. We think it's this system. So let's try and fix that system.
hey, Dr. K, I got to tell you
Yeah.
something. I don't know if this will make you feel any better, but we have gotten 16 texts,
Oh,
people who
wow.
are watching right now, saying they hope you get better.
Oh, thank you. That's
That's
very
pretty
sweet.
nice. That
That is,
is
that's great.
that's nice. Now, are you open for practice?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still showing up. I just a little slower moving, but yeah,
Yes.
a
Tell
little
people
slower moving.
how they can tell people how they can reach you.
Sure. The website is Upgrade PDX, like the abbreviation from Portland, upgrade Paul David X-ray.com. There is free discovery calls on there if you want to schedule and just ask questions and look at my face. Otherwise, you can also click on the booking widgets and self-schedule. Um, and you can call the office. I'm going to tell you it's not monitored because I'm by myself, but the phone number is 971-299-8350. And you can leave a message and I will get back to you.
Dr. K will be back again with us next month. All we can do is hope you get better. I know what back pain is. You can't even describe it, but listen, God, I can't believe all the people who wrote today,
That's sweet. Yeah.
and maybe that'll help. Yeah. So we'll see you next month, Chris.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one. And Happy New
Get
Year
better,
to
bro.
everybody. All right.
Same to
Thank you.
you.
Bye
That's
bye.
Dr. K. Hey, that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.